Welcome to the Belonging chapter. Today we had the absolute pleasure of meeting Joss Miller, an interior designer, but she hasn't always been an interior designer. She originally was a writer, decided to move into interior design, an incredible achievement while she was also juggling motherhood.
From going to work for free for other interior designers and thinking that this could potentially be something she does on the side, to building out an interiors business that serves some of the biggest homes in the region. We are delighted to see how that story panned out and to hear how reinvention in your 30s can happen.
Enjoy the episode. Joss, welcome. Hello, how are you today?
Very well. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome, and welcome to the Belonging chapter.
I'm excited to be here.
Brilliant. I want to get straight into it and talk to me about what made you believe that interior design could be more than a passion and actually it could be a business.
Sure. So I had my daughter in 2016, and before I had her, I was working as a freelance writer. So my job was very sort of unpredictable and lots of traveling was involved. And when I had her, I really wanted to spend some time with her at home. And I think maybe I had a bit of writer burnout. So I was thinking I could do with a change.
Yeah.
Didn't know what that change would look like. I was very lucky that a friend at the time was running an interior design business locally and in London. And I just said to her, I had renovated a few properties with my husband, had a little bit of experience in property, nothing on a big scale. But I said to her, do you think there's any chance that maybe there was something I could do in the interiors industry? And she was very kind and very supportive and said, do you want to come up to London with me and do some styling just on sort of handover day? And that was for developers and residential clients. So it was really work experience, essentially. I think she paid my travel and that was about
Generous.
it. Yeah. Maybe my sandwich.
Oh, nice.
And off the back of that, I got amazing experience with her, learned so much very, very quickly. And the responsibilities grew quite quickly because she was relocating to Mallorca. And so she asked me to meet with some clients, suppliers, and do things quite out of my comfort zone. But it really gave me a good insight into how the interiors industry worked and how she ran an interior design business. And whilst that was going on, I was also messaging lots of local developers, as Georgina knows, and builders and interior designers, and just trying to meet as many people as I could to do some research to see what the offering was already locally and what I might be able to bring to the table, I guess. But I was very much a beginner. So I was lucky that it was just through a few people I know who, so there was a friend who wanted to furnish their house. So I offered to help them furnish their new house as part of a sort of furniture package. And there was another developer who was actually developing an old school building on the same road where I lived with my daughter. So she was just a toddler. But it was very convenient. And again, I don't think I even got paid. I think she just said, look, if you want to do some specifications for me, you can use it as a portfolio job and have some photos. And I suppose my confidence grew because I was securing some of those projects myself. And I started an Instagram profile, which, just obviously had a very small following to begin with. But everyone was really receptive to meeting me. And I think I just thought I'll give it a go.
Yeah, which is a great way to be. And I've checked out your Instagram. Wow.
Thank you.
That is a long-standing passion. Going back a few years when you were young, growing up, did you find yourself, working with your parents going, oh no, that cushion, no, don't like that cushion, no, those curtains, mum? Did you find that you had that, or did it just come out? Oh, it did. Okay.
Yes, my mum used to pay me extra pocket money to sort of style her fireplace.
Did she?
Things like that.
Excellent.
Yeah, my mum hates doing anything to do with sort of home interiors, to be honest. So she said, I'll give you 20 quid if you would do the fireplace, or if you do the dining table.
I used to get 20p.
Yeah. And at university, I remember I was the only student who, I changed my carpet in my student room, and I, as you can imagine.
Yeah, I can imagine it. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. And changed a few things in the room, and everyone was like, what are you doing? But I suppose it's always been there. Yeah. And when I met my husband, we did renovate just, a couple of small houses of our own. And that was very sort of hands-on experience. Made lots of mistakes, I'm sure. But it was a good sort of journey, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned actually a part about you took on a couple of gigs where you weren't paid anything, and I think that's a really key thing that I always say to people. If you're thinking about setting up your own business as a freelancer in whatever capacity, don't just quit the day job. And I mean, if you can afford to, wonderful, but don't just quit it and then go, right, now I've got to find some clients. Try it out, do things for free, and see whether it is, because there's a difference between having a passion and having a business.
Yes.
And a business can quash some of the passion if you're not careful. So actually trying it out is, I think, really, really key.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you were previously a writer.
Yes.
So one's assuming that you had a bit of a pivot point in your 30s, I'm guessing.
Yes, I had my daughter when I was 34.
Right. So tell me about that reinvention of yourself, which I think probably having kids is maybe a bit of a trigger for that. What did that feel like? Were there any moments where you thought, I can't do it.
I think because I was a freelance beforehand and ran my own business anyway,
yes,
I wasn't stepping away from a job or an opportunity after sort of maternity leave. I didn't have an option, after I wasn't necessarily going back to a job or going back to, 9 months maternity leave and then going back to a pay packet.
Yeah.
So I knew that with the way my work was, it wouldn't be conducive with having a small child. And I wanted to spend time with her. She didn't start nursery until she was 14 months. Yeah. So for me, there was a time where I suppose I thought I'm going to take this time to reflect on what's my new chapter look like, what am I going to do moving forward as a mother in the workspace. And I was very lucky that my husband was very supportive. He was he knew that really if I wanted to carry on being a writer, I would need guaranteed childcare, which at the time I would have been paying for childcare, but then not necessarily making money as a writer. So I was lucky when I started doing the interior stuff up in London and the odd day here and there with my friend that the grandparents would help me. So it was a juggle, definitely, because you do question how much time you want to balance between work and being a mother. And walking away from a career that I did love, and had some amazing experiences being a writer and had amazing relationships with friends who were in London. But I think I was ready for a change. And when I did those first days in London, just doing styling, I mean, literally running around, getting other people coffee and going to, run and get bits and pieces that they might have forgotten on styling day. I just remember getting home utterly exhausted and not earn much money, but had really, really loved it. And, it felt like I had a new passion and a new drive that was really exciting moving forward. So just thought I would explore it. And I was lucky that I was in a position to be able to do that my husband could support me, and I had my family close by who would look after my daughter for me. So.
And did you have anything in your brain going, no, you're in your 30s, you can't change, you should have done this years ago? Absolutely not. Or did you kind of go, no, be quiet, I love this. This feels like home, what I'm doing.
I suppose because I had an interest in it for a long time, it felt quite natural to step into that. But certainly I had my doubts because, as we all do, you look at what other people are doing and you compare yourself to other people and what they're offering. And I didn't know whether I would just be in styling, whether I would be working with developers, doing residential work, both, and how far it would go. I had no idea really that I would be working on sort of large scale new build homes, full renovations. I thought it could have just been home styling and helping people in that capacity. But I think it's just grown year on year. So I just went with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it really has grown. Is it 7 years?
So now? Megan is now almost 10. Okay. So I suppose it was the year after 2018 when I started working with my friend in London, and then Megan was probably going to nursery more when she was about 2. So probably 7 to 8 years. And certainly when she went to school, I had much more time to be able to focus my brain and meet people and just make connections.
And I think your style, obviously you're creative director of Joss Miller, and your style has evolved. I feel like it's evolved so much over that 8-year period. But the designs that you put together are for you, but as in like you're the target market, as I am, like as you are. You design for people like us, and I think that evolution has as we all get older, like the style changes and evolves. Like, how do you maintain that kind of creative direction for your clients?
Yeah, I suppose I would say that our kind of signature style is quite timeless and client-led. So instead of following trends or following what other designers might be doing, we spend so much time with clients in that early phase to understand what they're trying to achieve, not only what they're trying to achieve immediately, but what they're trying to achieve in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, why they're renovating the property or building this new home, and how they see that picture looking for the next 10, 20 years. And like you said, that we are kind of designing, essentially most of my clients are probably in my age range, which is now mid-40s, or older mostly. So certainly we are thinking about how people use their homes now, not only for parenting, entertaining. A lot of us work from home now. A lot of us have spaces where, it's certainly, whether it's a home office or home cabin in the garden, and we're always thinking about how we would use the space from a practical perspective, but certainly everything's client-led.
Yeah, absolutely. And is it just you and your own, or have you got is there support in the background?
Yes. So I have a lovely design assistant, Beck, who works with me pretty much full-time now. I think she's been with me a couple of years. And at first, again, it was a very relaxed agreement. I was lucky that she wanted to be involved, but didn't necessarily need too much of a commitment from me. But she has added so much value to the business in terms of allowing me to build my connections. I think in the last couple of years, that's been really important to me, is to think about who I'm going to be working with and how I see my business growing. So having that time to focus my kind of business strategy, I suppose, and meet with architects, smart home experts, lighting designers, people who really are working in the luxury construction industry, whilst Beck is at home doing all of the amazing work that she does for me that's super important in terms of concept boards, collecting samples, dropping samples off to clients. It's a real team effort, and she's been fantastic for the business.
Amazing. And there is a young Joss at home, and I love seeing your Instagram when she's out doing styling, and she loves interiors.
Oh, is she? Oh, excellent.
Yeah. She's an aspiring designer in the background, I think.
Yes.
How do you find the juggle between motherhood and running your own business? And
probably like every mother, being a parent and trying to run your own business or working hard in the corporate world, I think you always question, are you being a good mother?
Yeah.
And are you doing a good job for your clients? And it's difficult because when you're trying, it's really important, isn't it, to feel present. If you're either working for your clients 100%, or you're trying to be a mother 100%. And I do try and carve out those days so that I'm with Megan and put my phone away, turn my emails off. If we are on holiday, certainly try and switch off. And like I said, I have Beck around who can pick things up when I'm not in the office. But it is hard. It is hard, and it's what I think all parents struggle with. You always question, what could you be doing better? But I guess it's just day by day. Do your best.
But there's an element of her seeing what you do and, like, obviously looking up to you and like enjoying watching her mum do that and working. And I hope for my children that you instill that work ethic in them, and
Absolutely.
they can see that you're following your passion. So
Yes.
wanting to do that as well.
Yeah, I think Megan certainly she's becoming much more interested in my business and wants to now name it Megan Miller Design.
Oh, excellent. I love it. Get rid of mum's name, not interested.
Yeah. I did think, it does actually sound quite good.
It does sound a double M.
Double M.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Trademark it. Yeah.
So, assuming she works really hard when she can become part of the team, I might give her an opportunity. But yeah, it's fantastic. And my husband often says, when I come in with all my bags of all my samples into the house, and I throw them all out on the floor, and it's really lovely when she says, oh mummy, what are you doing at the moment? And gets involved and looks at the samples and tells me what she thinks I should be doing. And it's lovely for her to see that I'm growing my business. And I do explain to her that I run my business for financial reward. I'm in a position that I need it to earn money for me. I want to earn money from my business. It's not a hobby. but also that it's something that I do really believe in and I love and I'm happy. And that's, also a privilege to be able to be happy in your work life. And I love that she sees me doing that, of course. And hopefully that is inspiring for her.
Kids are brutal as well. Like I
They'll tell
bought
you real.
Oh my God. I mean, I bought a lampshade. I mean, nothing exciting. And my son went, don't like that. That's awful.
Yeah.
And I literally had spent hours looking for a lampshade.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to talk, right?
Yeah.
A lampshade.
Well, it's very subjective, isn't it?
It is. But you go, well, if you were worried about a mood board or concept, I mean, your children are going to tell you whether it's rubbish or,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
that brutal, they bring you back down to reality.
Absolutely.
You can be out with the client,
Yes.
speccing a design and it's all very great. And then you go home and they bring you down to earth. You can be dealing with,
And they've got spaghetti bolognese all over your lovely dining
Exactly. Well, not with those trousers on, I hope.
Yeah, exactly. Near the cream trousers.
Not near the trousers. Hello there. I just want to take a few moments of your time to talk about our episode sponsor, Salacia. I'm here today in their showroom surrounded by just some of their beautiful bathroom products. So whether you're a homeowner, contractor or developer working in the residential, commercial or hospitality sectors, Salacia are your go-to for refined design and technical precision. Check them out at salacia.co.uk and don't forget to listen to the rest of the episode. Thank you.
Joss, what you've built over the last kind of 7-8 years, you've gone from working for free and doing a bit of styling to incredible designs. And I think your style is so well known across this area that you work in, and lots of people aspire to be like you. But that was a big change 7 or 8 years ago to say, do you know what, I've done this. That's not for me because it's not going to work for my family anymore. I'm going to go and work for free and I'm going to hustle and I'm going to try and build something. And you took that plunge. So if there's somebody watching this that's at home and is either at work or is a stay-at-home mum or dad who's thinking, I've got a passion, but how do I turn that into something that becomes a business and can give me something back?
Yeah.
What would your advice be for that person?
I think it's really important that like you said earlier, you might have a passion, but whether it's the right time for you and your family, that's one thing to take into consideration. If you have emotional and financial support around you, then great. But also do your research, make sure you meet as many people as you can who already work in that space, and listen to them and take everything on board as much as you can. And believe in yourself, because when you started something in your 20s, you actually had a lot less experience and a lot less personal growth than you do when you are in your 30s or 40s. So don't underestimate what you have to offer, because actually you have a lot more to offer, most likely, than you did when you were in your early 20s. And you found out what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and you can really kind of leverage those at that point. But it's working hard, it's being patient, because a new business idea or a new career isn't just going to take off. So if you have to work for free, work for free, and build a connections and relationships around you that will support you. And if anyone's particularly negative about it, just try and stick with people who are being really positive, who can help you drive things forward, because some people will be risk averse and not want to, we'll say, be careful, maybe don't do that, stick with what you know. But if you've done your research and you're prepared to work hard and you believe in yourself, then it's worth giving it a shot, because it's better than having a regret.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, isn't it? You hear a lot about family, particularly, that won't necessarily be that supportive of people that want to make that change, and that's probably from a place of actual love, and to be worried for them that, they're going to go and quit their job, and is this other thing going to work out, and are they going to be okay? Can they pay the mortgages? But it probably comes from a place of care.
Yes.
But could obviously put doubt in someone's mind if they think, I really want to give this a shot. Yeah,
I think I've been very lucky that my parents, my mum in particular, even every day now, sends me gifts that are, you can do this. She's very much,
wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
she's
fantastic.
Always been a huge sort of champion of mine. Yeah, so she's championed me, from when I was, obviously, as we do, as mothers, you do that for your children. But she's been really honest as well, and sometimes said, you're not great at that. I mean, I was useless at playing the violin, so she told me, stop playing the violin.
Who is good? Come on.
And my husband, he's honest as well. He will say if he thinks I'm overthinking something or have a bad idea. He'll be honest. So yeah, if possible, if you do have people around you who are worried for you, I guess, just reassure them that you have done your research and it's a path you've looked into. There is an opportunity there, and you're prepared to give it a go. And if it's right for you and your family and your children at the time, then just think about those transferable skills you might have from another industry, because we have so many transferable skills that just because you're changing to a completely contrasting job or career, it doesn't mean those skills can't be used again. So make a list and kind of realize to yourself that you do have lots to give this new venture.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think work experience, you touched on that as well. Grown-up work experience, we've been calling it, because we've had a number of people recently that have come into the property business to do work experience, because exactly that, they really want to get into property. There's an element of it that they really like. They may have done their own projects. They're like, can we just come and spend a week with you or 2 weeks just seeing how this works? A lot of the time they go away and go, that looks really hard. Actually, that doesn't look as glamorous or as easy as it may portray to be on Instagram. But going out and doing some adult work experience is such a good idea. If you want to get into something completely different to what you're doing now, if you want to be a florist, like go and work in a florist for a couple of weeks. Say, can I lend a hand and see what this is all like? You might do it and go, this is not for me.
Exactly.
Or you might do it and absolutely fall even more in love with it.
And I think I was really surprised actually at how open everybody was to meeting with me as a newcomer in the industry, and open to the potential of working with me. But people can surprise you. People are really collaborative and they are really supportive. Even other interior designers would meet with me when I was first setting up, to offer advice on how they run their business, what suppliers they might use, how they price. I mean, I was quite gobsmacked, to be honest, at how open some people were about how they run their business. But I'm still really good friends actually with a local lady who I met for coffee, who was so open and so supportive and said, you know what, give it a go. And people do surprise you. And why not? You just ask someone for a coffee, and if they don't want to or can't and they're too busy, then they'll say no, or they won't, and then you just move on and just try and build relationships and just listen and learn as much as you can. And but people certainly surprised me, I think.
They are, and I think we know so many people around us that we view them in the capacity of that's a mate or that's a family friend, but they've got jobs, they've got houses, they've, and you mentioned that you help somebody out with it, like, practice that thing you want to do, or ask them, what is it that you tackled or you failed at or you've learned? Because again, to your point about skills, everything is transferable.
Absolutely.
In life. I've got a Brucey bonus question. I'm going to turn the table slightly now. This is as someone who's been through this. We are living in Kent, the land of buy a house, renovate it, and then go, oh my gosh, I've now got to style it. And, you could be in a very stressful point in life, talking from personal experience, styled it. What would you say to anybody out there who has got to that point of going, oh, I've got to make decisions about plug sockets and lights and things like this? What would be your advice? This is a real left field question, but bit of free advice here, for our audience.
Hire an interior designer.
Excellent. There you go. Good plug. Yeah.
Of course, working with an interior designer isn't for everyone. So I think you mentioned it earlier about having felt quite overwhelmed with making all of those decisions at once as part of a home renovation. So, Pinterest is obviously a very useful tool for people to visualize how a room comes together. And but speak to your builder and contractor, because sometimes they'll say, what do you want for your sockets and switches? What finish do you want? And instead of you having to think, I don't know, ask for samples. There's no reason why they've done this hundreds of times. There's no reason why they can't help you, and they'll know all of the local suppliers, and they'll have things in the back of their van that they can show you. If you're worried about paint colours, then just put some paint colours on the wall and just try things out. And you don't have to do it all at once. I think if you can, spend the money on the bones of the building and the structure and the architectural details. And of course, we all want it to look beautiful when we move in or on day one. But if you can take your time, live in the space, see how the natural light works, and see how you use those spaces with family and friends, and just do things slowly if you can.
Yeah, well, someone who's crashed, both of us are crash bang wallop. That's like saying, can you just not be
I want
yourself?
everything now. So
Yeah,
I'm clearly
yeah,
I'm
no,
not the right person
completely.
for this advice.
No, I remember before Pinterest, I used to like actually cut out magazines,
I did,
like
of
Home
course.
and Garden or whatever,
Yeah.
Print
and
stick.
stick it in a book,
in a file.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I wish I could find some of those old files, because if I showed our daughter that, she'd be like, "What? You've literally made a like."
There's arts and crafts.
Yeah,
You did it.
It's crazy now because Pinterest, you've got, there's everything there, isn't there?
Yes, and usually it's in America. You can't get
Yeah.
it. So
I
don't get
know,
too
that's
carried
the
away with all the
downside.
specifics. But yeah, it's definitely a good tool.
Yeah.
And I think of course, designing a house is a job in itself. That's why we do it as a job. So it can be overwhelming for people. But if they have a good contractor and have had a good architect involved, then equally just go and chat to lots of suppliers locally. Like if you're deciding on a kitchen, for example, it's such a big investment and such an important part of your home. So go and meet with those designers and chat through your ideas and have a look at all different types of styles and finishes, and try not to rush into decisions.
And if you are feeling overwhelmed, like, do seriously consider getting an interior designer, because actually home renovations are incredibly stressful. And if you've got someone that's bringing it all together and taking your vision or taking your Pinterest board and going, right, I can turn that into reality within the budget that you've got, it makes it quite an enjoyable experience as opposed to a really stressful one.
Yes,
and
it should be enjoyable.
Everyone can enjoy it. And you can get the end product that you want. And actually, probably 9 times out of 10, you end up saving money because the designer knows how to not make mistakes.
And you haven't made mistakes, because obviously it can be very costly if you do make mistakes. And I know I said put paint on the walls, but don't paint your entire house and then change your mind, because that can be quite costly. But yeah, absolutely, you don't want to make mistakes that will cost you a lot of money, and it can be a stressful experience. And if you do have the money to set aside some for an interior designer early in the process, then that's great, because you can factor that into your overall budget. And we offer a procurement package which involves sourcing all of your products, but we also offer a design consultation service, which is there for clients who either the contractor might be bringing in some of the goods and some of the products, or the clients might think, oh, I would actually like to shop, or I have a friend who runs an interiors business or shop, but we would just really like to bounce our ideas with you and some reassurance on how is this scheme going to flow cohesively throughout the home. So we do offer that service as well. So I think sometimes people assume interior designers, it's one fee and we're not very flexible. But I think most of us work in the capacity that we try to help people, because when people approach us, we understand that they feel like it's something they can't do, or they don't have the time for, they don't have the expertise. So, we always try and come up with a package that suits them and their budget.
That's amazing.
Super. Joss, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Brilliant talking to you and hearing your story. And I'm sure there's people out there listening that think, I'm just in that position, I don't know what to do next. And this will have given them inspiration to say, actually, this is a plan and this is what I can do, and I can go and meet people and have coffee and start thinking about what my next steps are. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.